Even though it may be a bumpy ride, Neptune giving you the ability to find centering in the chaos, to find centering in everything that is going on around you. And so we have that gift that we can step into if we want to. So we are now into February 2025, and the energy is getting very interesting. And as I said, with January 2025, the expectation was that a lot of the energy was going to be similar to December 2024. And only when the end of the month showed up, when we had the nodal shift, would it start to really shift in how the trajectory is going to look in the world. It's a big month ahead based on what I see. It's always potential, so we can always hope for something different. But based on what I see with the transits, it is going to be an energy that is going to bring chaos, crisis, also opportunities to have new experiences that maybe you haven't had before. It will also be potentially shocking, but also mystically inspired because we have Neptune moving into gate 25 again, and it did that last year in 2024. And it's moving back in, but when it does, it's going to connect with Chiron in gate 51, and it's going to bring us this full mystical channel. It's called the channel of initiation. And so it's bringing us this initiation of brand new things that we've never had before. So this is what 2025 is going to bring. It's going to bring a lot of energy that we haven't seen before. But I love that Neptune is going in gate 25, line one, because it is exalted there. And it's an exaltation that we haven't had in 165 years. It did come back into play in 2024, so it is back in the global aura, but I love it because it is called psychic attunement. And for this particular instance, it is attunement as in healing, psychic healing, or intuitive healing, or knowing what you need in your life, what tools you need, what books you need to read, if you read books to self-help books, or whatever tools you need, people who offer courses, those types of things. It's not about the people who are offering the courses who are going to take you along the path. It is now this perspective of you know what you need, and these tools are just kind of with you to help you go through. But ultimately, the awareness is coming from you, especially with the gate 25 and the 2551 channel. I mean, I think that that is giving us a great opportunity to find those moments of healing, to be with our own selves, and to really understand what we need, to have an opportunity to open our awareness and to find the parts of us that we need healing. Especially with Chiron and Gate 51, line 6, it is a beautiful energy. There is no detriment because Pluto hasn't been there for a very long time. And so we're only looking at the exaltation. It really says that the answers come from within. And that's what Gate 25, line 1 once again says. The answers that you need come from within. The healing that you need comes from within. So it is a moment where you can find that healing. So if you can find a quiet place away from all the noise, as I say, it is noise, there's going to be a lot of bluster. And the thing about the gate 36 and the 3635 channel, which will be in play, is that it doesn't always happen the way people think it's going to happen. So that's another thing to keep in mind. We will have expectations, and people will have expectations. Well, if I do A, B, and C, this will play out the way I see it playing out. And that is not the way 35, 36 channel plays out. It is experiential, it isn't logical. And so that is the confusion that we have. We think that everything is logical and that we can, put A plus B plus C and we're going to have, the specific chemical reaction. So if you know that vinegar and baking soda come together, they make a reaction. That's not what life's about. That's logical energy. Those are two reactants, and we know that this is what results, but that's not what we're going to see with the 35, 36 channel. And so what you think you're going to get may not be what you're going to get. And this is about reducing our expectations. And this is a theme that goes through the whole of 2025, allowing the universe to show what it's going to show, being open to what you receive. With Saturn in gate 22, it's giving us the resilience and the ability to move through the energy of whatever we see in our path and to move through it with grace and resilience. That is our choice. This type of psychic attunement is also opening a pathway to awareness and opening that energy to see something beyond the illusion. So when we see that this is that energy that we have, as well as the other stuff that's happening, it gives you that sort of silver lining to understand that there is something beneath all the noise, and this is what we will see. And so, if there is a time to remove yourself from social media, to stop watching the news, and when I talk about news, I'm not just talking about cable news, I'm talking about independent media, I'm talking about political rants, I'm talking about politics, and all that stuff that just comes with so much division. And it could be really turned up this month. And so why is this happening? Well, the first thing that we see is that we have the nodes that have changed, and this makes a big impact on how the energy is flowing. We won't have the full 35, 36 channel for the first 12 days of the month. Then after that, Jupiter moves into gate 35, and we get the 35, 36 channel. This is going to bring us global definition of emotional energy. So if you don't have emotional energy, which probably about 50% of people don't, on a regular basis, this is going to give you that emotional energy. And if you have any dormant gates, they're all going to be lit up because this is going to have a global activation of the solar plexus for everyone. And so that's something to keep in mind. But also, on top of that, we have a couple of other emotional energies that are going to be activated. From February 12th to the 19th, we'll only have the 35, 36 channel. That's in play. But then after that, from the 19th right up until into March 2nd, we're going to have even more emotional energy. We'll have the 35, 36 energy. We also have the 59-6 channel, which is activated between the Earth in the gate 59 and the South Node in the gate 6, which will bring more tribal emotional energy. Then we also have right after that the 3740, which is going to be activated as well as the 3536. We'll have two emotional energies in play from February 19th right until the 2nd of March, as I said. So this is bringing a very tribal energy to the collective. And we know with tribal energy, this is where it really kind of gets into the core of humanity because tribal energy is literally what we have built our whole framework around because our whole framework is built on the global cycle of the cross of planning, which is all about the will center. It is about material abundance. It is about my tribe, my people are better in some way than your people. We also have a lot of tribal energy playing out through the sun and earth. We've got gate 49 being activated several times throughout the month. We have Mercury and also Venus going through gate 21, gate 49. So we have an abundance of tribal energy in February 2025. So that is something to keep in mind. Tribal energy really does shake things up. And that's really what I see for February 2025. Combine it with the 35, 36 channel, this channel of potentially just going out and doing whatever you want and not really looking at the consequences. Then we also have gate 6, line 6, which is a south node, which says that friction is part of growth. But when it comes to the peacemaker, we have the duality of the peacemaker, which is a gate 6, line 6. And the peacemaker is really about this idea that um, when you see that your opponents have nothing sort of to kind of combat against you anymore, you let go and you say, okay, let's come to a diplomatic end to whatever this is. The alternative is to say, I only want what I want, and if I don't get it, there will be no peace. We will continue to do what we want to do. And so we have that duality. And how that plays out is something that we will see as the month goes on. So this brings in the energy of conflict, diplomacy, potentially peace, potentially. Again, it is the powers that be that make those kinds of decisions. The energy can be ripe for the picking, but it is the people who have the power to make those kinds of choices that actually do make those kinds of choices. And because we have so much emotional energy within the collective at this time as well, thinking with a non-emotional approach may be less likely than it is during other times. And so we have a lot of emotional energy that is kind of firing up the collective that is saying we're going to make those kinds of decisions. Again, we're looking at gate 36, line 6, which is no consequences are looked at. It is action. It is jumping into the deep end, especially for the first 12 days of the month, because there is no gate 35, which says, okay, is this worth my time? So it's just doing whatever you want to do and not really worrying about the consequences. This is also about coveting thy neighbor's goods. It's where you're looking at everybody else and you're saying they have so much and I want that. And with gate 6 involved too, it could be I'm going to take that. So there's that perspective as well. When we look at Saturn in gate 22, there is this underlying theme of Saturn shows us the disenfranchised, it shows us the sick, the elderly, people who don't have much. It's showing us that, but it's also showing us the grace and resilience of these people. And that though life may not be what they had dreamed of, or though life may be giving them a path that is not easy to walk, yet they still walk it with grace and resilience because that is the nature of humanity. We continue to get up. No matter how many times we get knocked down, humanity continues to get up. And if you don't believe that to be true, look at COVID. Everybody thought that was it. That there was no chance for humanity after that. And yet we move through that. And we will move through everything that comes in our path. And that is what we have to see. Saturn is showing us that grace and resilience. And it's reminding us that we do have the power to be the individual expression of ourselves no matter what, because gate 22 is individual energy. The other perspective is we have Uranus in gate 23, line 5, and it's going to be there for the rest of the month. It goes direct to the beginning of the month and it continues to kind of chug through. I don't like Uranus in gate 23, especially not in the fifth line, because what it really talks about is this idea of everybody, in order for you to be accepted by the collective, you have to be assimilated into the group. In other words, if you're not acting like everybody else, then you're not going to be able to get your mutation out into the world. And yet there is this other side of it that says that it's okay to bend when you need to bend, to do something so that you can be in a circle that is necessary for you to move forward. But it is never okay as an individual because it's not even part of how you can operate to completely let go of who you are just to be somebody else, which we may see happen, especially with Uranus there, because it is that unusualness that people are aligning with something that maybe they don't really believe in, but they feel like it's a safe thing to align with, and they are letting go of their own truth so that they can be safe. And so that is something that we may see in the collective. But having said that, mutation will always have its way, and Uranus will move out of gate 23 and it will move into gate 8. And so when it does, it's like those people who stood their ground, who stood in their integrity, but also knew when it was better just to let go, because this is not about fighting huge battles and trying to get your way and say I'm an individual, I'm unique, look at me. It's not about that. It is about knowing when to speak and knowing when to step back. And that also comes from the 2551 channel, which is about you being your unique self, bringing your mutation or the newness that you have, the new innovations, the who you are to the collective, but also understanding that what you have to give is not just for everybody. And there are people who are not going to understand, and it's better just to step back, let go, and not engage with that type of energy rather than to go to battle and, you know, not really gain anything from it in the long run. So, this is what Gate 23 is saying. There will definitely be people who lose their way to fit in, but having said that, that's not what you have to do. You don't have to lose your way to fit in. It's more like you just decide what is worthy and what isn't worthy. You decide when to let go, when to retreat, and all those ways will allow you to move through the energy because we do have Uranus eventually moving into gate 8, and when it does, then it's going to be a different energy of identity, direction for creativity in the future. And that's going to happen around the end of March. So, the other perspective of Uranus in Gate 23 is to understand that it's a great time to bring the simplicity to things that are normally complex. And so, it gives that ability to break down complex things that you want to make happen. It gives you that ability to articulate it in a way where people can understand you. But it's also a time with Uranus in Gate 23 where working with your hands, doing crafty things, even being out in nature, just kind of getting back to basics can really enrich your soul or give you a breath of fresh air through all this other energy that's moving around. Mars will go direct on the 24th of February. So when it does shift is a chance for a new beginning. It is going to go direct in gate 53, line 3. So this is cyclical energy that is going to connect with gate 42 when Chiron moves into gate 42 on the 3rd on the 4th of March. And so we're going to have a complete 53-42 channel, which is like a brand new cycle format energy. So we have new cycles that are going to start beginning where you can use that energy to start to move in a direction that you've wanted to move. So that's another way, especially with Pluto in gate 41, where it is the beginning of everything. It's giving everybody an opportunity, an open door to walk into a new path. With that said, I hope you have a peaceful February ahead. And until next time, take care and bye for now.